So, what's your name and what do you do at n8n?
Hi, I'm Sindhuja. Yeah, I'm a product manager at n8n and I work at the AI team. Yeah.
So, how did you get started with n8n? How did you join?
So my previous job was, I was running my own company for about 10 years. So it was in the edtech space. I was a founder and it was in the social impact space, had a lot of fun. Started my career as an engineer and then slowly discovered my love for interacting with users and building products. And it took me to grad school. From there, through a series of events, I ended up founding my company, right? And I think there was an entrepreneurial bug. And 10 years was a long run, and the company is still alive, which is amazing, and I'm still involved as part of the board. But as 10 years passed by, I was looking at what do I really want to do next, and tried a bunch of consulting opportunities and found my love for, again, speaking with users in product. That's kind of when I came across n8n. This was last year, and I reached out and spoke with the folks I really loved, the company and the folks I was interacting with, and also the space n8n works in. So I thought, let me just have a chat and conversations. One thing led to the other, and I joined the team about 6 months ago. Awesome. Yes, yeah.
So tell me about how you started, with one kind of role and responsibility, and how that has kind of like shifted over the relatively short time you've been at n8n, how you've kind of moved through the organization.
That's right, yeah. So I joined n8n as a product manager, and when the first assignment, if you will, was more about let's make sure the users who come through n8n are successful and they have continued value through it. So the team is adorably called ADORE, Adoption and Retention. So I was leading that mission for the org, and we built some really amazing products through that. The first exciting thing was building an instance level MCP, which is available in almost anywhere you build AI products, and it's just exciting to kind of get started and run workflows from whichever AI platform users are in. And that got so much love from the community, but at the same time, it could also go into building anything pretty foundational for n8n, like making sure users don't lose their work and building autosave. So it spans a wide variety of things. But through that process, I feel one is, but at the same time, the AI is kind of at the forefront of like how users are building things with n8n, and like how do we make this process really easy. So I think that's kind of when Jan reached out and David reached out and like, hey, do we want to take on the mission of making the way people build with n8n entirely different, and how do we use AI to do that? So I kind of moved to leading that part of the job, like as part of the AI team, so which is essentially users kind of just specifying the intent of what they want to do, and then we do it all for them. So it's a huge and lofty goal,
yeah,
right? And
definitely.
So very exciting, ambitious, and fast-moving at the same time, and it's fun.
Yeah, fast moving. That's an understatement, right? With all that in 6 months, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so
as you can see, it's a wide variety of things. So I cannot name, this is the one thing that we do, and that's essentially the exciting part of the job. So I feel the biggest thing is just being ready for the challenge and being flexible and adaptable. And everyone around does the same, which kind of is like a it's a reinforcing loop, positive reinforcement of like all of us are having fun.
Definitely, yeah. We are all definitely having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, like, for instance, the instance level MCP is a really interesting case of having a lot of uses, and where the community really was like excited by it and wanted more, right? And even like made their own solutions.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how we're kind of like learning from that, and now how it's kind of like you are now almost responsible, right, in for some part of it to deliver on that?
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is a classic case of we do listen to the community and see like what the builders want and what our users want. You're right. It started off with there is like our community built solutions already, and we were like, okay, there is a need for this, and let's actually address that and do it really well. So while we could have done it like a long time ago. But also like, but we need a good way to do it and make it so easy for everyone to just do a one-click solution to get access to n8n from anywhere. So the process of it also meant officially partnering with different platforms. So it was an exciting thing of really understanding, okay, what exactly is the functionality we want to expose to our community through that process, but at the same time, partnerships essentially to like speak with different organizations and then make it a one-click connect to n8n from wherever you are. So that was, while it's challenging timeline-wise, but we made it happen in like 2 months. So, which was, it felt like we were juggling a lot of things, but it's out there. And one other thing that, like you rightly pointed out, of course, the community wants more, and we can do more.
Yeah.
And
Then, can you tell me about like your use of n8n? Like, do you use n8n personally or like professionally at work at n8n?
So, for folks familiar with n8n, like there's the Ask AI assistant that's within the product, and that's built completely on top of n8n. So it's all powered by an n8n workflow, right? And what's cool about it is it's a very complicated use case. Like you could ask it any questions, it responds things about things in the docs. You could ask things, you could prompt it from multiple places in the UI, and it's kind of like your first stop customer support, if you will, on like for the product. But at the back end, the workflow is super simple, right? And it is also like it's kind of been live for more than a year now, and I would say highly reliable, less than 0.03% error rate. So reliable in production at the scale that n8n is. And I think that would be like a classic case of how we built something in n8n with n8n. And on my personal things, I have like a bunch of workflows that I have done to like just keep track of things that are happening, like be it how quickly like the research is changing, the new research that's emerging. So I kind of have like my research digest workflows that I read on the go. I kind of have like a 30-minute podcast that I generate, which I listen to it on walks. So there's like a little, like it can spin up from anything that I need that's simple and easy to use to something super production ready that we've done at work. Yeah.
So the Ask AI use case is really interesting because it's almost like we delivered a product with our product,
That's right? Yeah.
And it's actually being used in production. So
Yeah.
that's really interesting. How does it kind of feel to not only use our tool that we're making at work, but also to almost be like delivering it as part of the solution?
Right. I mean, I think it's kind of like the ultimate dog fooding. Like everyone talks about dog fooding, but you might be building like prototypes and like tinkering around and never release it in production. But now you're testing the limits of the product. And in a way, like I would say it's super important to do because through that you realize if there are limitations and you are becoming the user of what you've built. So you really understand where it shines, what improvements need to be made. And through that have come like several, I would say, like product features that we wanted to build into n8n. So I think we do want to do like more and more of it. And that's kind of like a core philosophy of how we are trying to build new products within n8n to see how much of n8n can we actually use. And that's kind of like the first thing we look at. To see, is it possible through n8n? Let's actually do it.
Really
and why is it not? And then let's try and build that into n8n. Yeah.
Well, what do you think is the future for n8n and in what direction we're heading and where we'll be in the future?
I would say I'm very excited about the future of n8n because we as a company are like really well positioned to help users achieve what they want to achieve with automation. And then we are only making it easier and very user friendly. And so it's accessible to anyone who has a goal in mind and wants to implement that. So I would say, and then given our thinking and philosophy of like, let's always listen to users and have the community in mind, is also helps us because we are constantly like listening to that and building our products that way. I would say the one thing that I'm very excited about is n8n does provide for a reliable platform to make sure like whatever you've built runs and you have a way to look at it and say it's not about I'm not sure what AI is doing. Like we provide a layer for users to look at what exactly AI is doing. I think combining the creativity with the reliability, I think makes n8n the best place to build things. Yeah.
Definitely. That's a really good answer. It makes me feel good about the future of n8n.
Amazing.